Assalamualaikum and salam sejahtera. My name is Nur Siti Fatima Binti Nadzar with metric number 159455. In this media review, I will be explaining about journal articles about an inside perspective of Finland education system. Based on these journal articles, there are lots of things about Finland education system that I have learned. Firstly, I learned that one of the principles behind Finland's succession in education system is their equity in education. In Finland, their students have a real access to the best education that Finland has to offer without looking at their socio-economic level or place of birth. Students receive the same high level of education whether they live in a rural area, small city, or a large metropolitan area. Because of that, students in Finland are all provided with opportunities and support they need to succeed because their education system is fair and inclusive. Secondly, their curriculum and assessment. School curriculum and pedagogical practices in Finland encourage inquiry, collaboration, creative and critical thinking, problem solving, and positive social skills. Finnish teachers are trained and expected to working with their students in ways to create learners, not test takers. So, students in Finland are more exposed to problem-solving activities that encouraging students to explore, ask questions, and develop critical thinking skills. Thirdly, their teachers' requirements. In Finland, if someone wants to become a teacher, they must at least have a master's degree including content and pedagogical knowledge. Finland also recruiting the best and brightest students into the teaching profession and train them to become professional educators. So, only the qualified one can be a teacher in Finland. In Finland, teacher requirements can be considered as highly selective because they want to ensure that only the most capable and dedicated individuals can enter the profession and teach Finnish students. Fourthly, the standardized test. There are no required standardized tests for public schools in Finland. However, beginning in 6th grade, teachers may voluntarily use standardized tests but only for local school purpose. So students in Finland are lower in stress compared to students in other countries because they don't have a lot of tests in schools, hence less pressure on passing the test. What I think about this article is, this article provides a comprehensive insight into Finland educational system. From these articles, it can be observed that Finland have different strategy for the education system and it can be considered as unique compared to educational system of other countries in the world. These articles also discussing on what is the greatest strength of the Finnish educational system and how the education system work incredibly well until it can make Finland education system rank higher in the world. It can also be observed from this article that in Finland, their goal wasn't just about achieving top grades or intensifying competition between students. Instead, they wanted to create a fairer school environment. From this journal article, there are three important take-home messages. First, the goal of any school assessment program and curriculum should be to prepare students to perform in the real world, not only hoping that students to do well on standardized tests. Schools should provide opportunities for students to apply their knowledge in real-world scenarios so they are more prepared to face challenges in the real world, especially after they are graduate from school. Hence, it is important to be focusing on how to prepare students to perform in real world so that students are not only academically proficient but also equipped with the skills and mindset needed to face the challenges in the real world. Second, each community should support education by taking children seriously by incorporating programs and assistance to families to begin and sustain their children from the prenatal stage through to the beginning of the public schools such as medical checkup, healthcare services, and nutrition advice to ensure that children are born healthy and mothers are well prepared for childbirth. Communities also can collaborate with local schools to provide additional resources and support such as funding for extracurricular activities. When each community support education, it can enhance children's development regardless of their socio-economic level or place of birth. Third, teachers should be prepared in teacher preparation programs such as workshops and seminars that are geared to give students the theoretical and practical experience to be ready to begin their careers as educators. Teachers need to have a deep knowledge of the subject they will teach and they need to be well prepared in the material they will present to their students. Hence, teacher preparation programs are important to ensure that educators are well prepared to meet the demand of the education in country and also provide a high quality education to students. My perspective on what is happening to Malaysian educational system is Malaysia has lower education equity. In Malaysia, most of the children from rural area do not receive the same educational opportunities as in urban area. As a result, student achievement in the urban school is better compared to student achievement in rural school. In rural school, students experience greater barrier in accessing and engage in education such as lack of access to quality schools, educational materials, and extracurricular activities. This problem will form a gap in achieving equity in education between urban and rural schools. Hence, this will result in poorer academic outcomes and can give a bad impact on Malaysia's education system. Besides, curriculum in Malaysia does not prepare their students to perform in the real world. Instead, curriculum in Malaysia are more focusing on students to do well on standardized tests. Malaysia has a lot of tests and most of the students are more focusing to pass the test instead of focusing on how to prepare to perform in the real world. Hence, with too much focus on passing a test, it will overshadow the overall learning experience. This can limit the opportunities for students to be creative thinking, problem solving, and practical application of knowledge. This kind of knowledge is important for students to be more prepared to face challenges in the real world, especially after they graduate from school. Moreover, there are a shortage of qualified teachers in Malaysia. Some of the teachers are changed into other professions due to the heavy workloads, inadequate compensation, and limited career advancement opportunities. Due to the shortage of teachers, teachers in school are forced to take on more subjects than they can manage. This can result in having a workload and an extremely demanding schedule. This shortage of teacher also will result in higher student-teacher ratio, where one teacher needs to handle a lot of students in one class. This overcrowded classroom can limit the individual attention, making it difficult for teachers to manage the classroom effectively. These are some of the examples that shows Malaysia are still facing a significant challenges in order to achieve a high education system. The lesson learned from this journal article that can be learned by Malaysian policymakers are Malaysia should focus more on equity in education. Malaysian policymakers should be more invest in rural schools and provide them with additional support, especially to low-income families, such as providing free meals at school, free textbook, and transportation for students that come from low-income family. This kind of funds can ensure all students in rural area, especially low-income family, can attend school without economic barriers and thus had the same opportunities in education as students in urban areas. Hence, focusing on equity in education is an important lesson that Malaysian policymakers can take from the Finnish educational system in order to obtain a more equitable and high-quality education system for all students in Malaysia. Besides, Malaysian policymakers should reducing the number and frequency of standardized tests. For example, replace some tests in school with project-based assessment. By reducing the standardized tests in school, it can develop more holistic approach to student assessment and students will be more focused on critical thinking, problem solving, and creativity. It also can lead to be a more balanced and effective education system and hence create a learning environment that can prepare students for their future. Moreover, Malaysian policymakers should provide training programs for teachers to enhance their skill and knowledge. These programs should cover various aspects such as new teaching method, classroom management technique, and subject-specific content. Besides, Malaysian policymakers also can create an environment where teachers are encouraged to try new teaching methods and pedagogical approaches. This could include project-based learning and inquiry-based learning. By learning from failure and successful strategies, Malaysia can enhance its education system and create a more effective learning environment for all students.